Hello, in this video, we'll make a toast component and a service to display that toast with any message at any point in our application. For this little lesson, I'm going to use observables to keep track when the toast is displayed, but I'm not going into too much detail about observables because that would be very long and requires a separate video. So let's start by creating a service. I already have the templates for my toast component and toast service. For you to create those, you can run commands in gg service and the name of that service and component and the path like app services toast, and the same goes for ngg component app components toast. You can just run those in your terminal. I am doing this project at StackBlitz and I will share the link in the description down below. So let's start by creating the types for our toast service. Which types are we going to support for our toast message? Let's start by declaring export enum toast types. And for this video, I'll just use two types, error and success. And now let's create the interface for our toast data. What do we want to see on our toast? That would be title, string, content, string. Whether to show that toast, that would be boolean. This might be optional. Type would be also optional and it would be toast types. And we also will need progress width. This progress width will be our metric to know how much time is left to display that toast, because eventually it has to disappear. Now in our toast service, we need two properties on our class that will be data of type toast data, and we need an observable, which we will call, let's say, open. Probably is a poor name, but let's go with that. Open, that'll be new subject that comes from RxJS library. It will be of type toast data. Now what methods do we need in our toast service? Let's start with initiate. Initiate will accept data that is toast data. If it doesn't have a type, then we'll assume it is the error type. You can go with other logic if you want, but this is how I'm doing it here. This data type would equal toast types error. Next, we'll making this data, adding show true and progress with 100% as our starting point. And the thing with observable, the way they work, it is a stream of data and any part of the application can subscribe to that data and listen for the value changes. And based on that, you can decide on any logic you want. So how do we do that? We do this open next and pass the data. One other method we need is hide. That will be very simple. This data but show false, and this open next data. This data and this data. Sorry. Okay, that looks nice. Now let's go to our toast component. So our toast component already have the markup and CSS. I'm not going to go into this much. I'm not going into too much detail about the markup and CSS. I'm not gonna discuss CSS at any length, but about the markup, we have here open close animation. Based on some logic, if we have data and that data has show, then it will be in the state of open, otherwise closed. And the state of open, it just adds additional styles that write 40 pixels, for example, and state of closed will be visibility hidden, and it will go right -400 pixels. Why -400? So it would have nice animation of going negative right. You'll see it when it's done. And this is a transition between states open and closed. We'll use animate 0.5 seconds with the type of ease in and out. This is a progress bar. It will show how much is left before the toast is done and hides. It'll make much more sense by the end. Let's start with the logic we need now. So we need to view the child of the element of the progress bar. That'll be this element. So first what we'll do, we'll create a dependency that we need to be injected in our class, and that'll be toast service. It'll come from toast service. Next, we need the method that is called countdown. You might have already seen this here. Mouse leave its countdown. So what does countdown do? We'll keep the countdown to measure the style width of our progress bar element. So this will be a toast, and at the bottom there will be a progress bar of 100% with any color. Each 100 milliseconds, 150 milliseconds, it will decrease in size, displaying the user that there is a little time left before the toast disappears. So the way we start that, we say this progress bar native element style width equals this toast service data progress with. So this is easy enough. Now we need for this progress interval to create the set interval that will update this native element style with each 150 milliseconds. That's how I chose to do it. This progress interval equals set interval. Pass here a callback with 150 milliseconds. Now the logic here is pretty simple. First we check for the width of the native element, progress bar native element style width, and because it is a string like 100%, we will need only the integer from there with a base of 10. And now if width is less or equal to 0, we can call this toast service hide. We can clear the interval, this progress interval, and we will return. But for that width to eventually be 0, we need to keep subtracting from it. So what we do is this toast service data progress width equals string of width -2. So each time we subtract 2 values from that progress width, and then we do this progress bar native element style width equals this toast service data progress width plus %sign. So the countdown will work for this part of our markup or mouse leave, and we need stop countdown. Stop countdown will be pretty simple. It is just clear interval, this progress interval. That's easy enough. We're saving that, and the only other thing left is we need to subscribe to those events. So each time somebody calls toast service and initiates new message, we need to subscribe and listen for that data. So let's do that in this ng-on-init method. We have our open observable. We can subscribe to it. We have data here. And if data show, we can start the countdown. This countdown. This is mostly it. For that to work, we also need in our app component HTML to add app toast. You also need to make sure that your app module has browser animations module imported, that your declaration have this toast component, and now we can test this toast service and see how it works. I have prepared in app component TS a demo. So there is some mock function with return promise that is resolved after 1 second. It just gets us back content. What we can do here is const data await this get data, and as soon as 1 second is passed, you can see that the toast is displayed. Let's refresh. Okay, and now as you can see, the toast message appeared here, but the countdown did not start. The countdown starts based on this logic. If data has show, then this countdown. But what we did is, in our app component, we passed only title and content, and in our toast service, we make sure that show is true always at initiate, but we didn't pass this data, our updated object, we passed the data. So to fix this, we make this data, and now it starts immediately counting down and decreasing this progress bar width. As you can see, on mouse enter it stops the countdown, and on mouse left it starts the countdown again. Now I've made the border of the toast to be a little bit more clear because everything's white and it's not really clear how the progress bar works. So let's refresh. So as you can see, this is how it looks. It's not the best toast in terms of UI. You of course can customize it to the way you like. There are also a couple of improvements you can make based on this, and I encourage you to do so if you need. One improvement you can make, you can add close sign here. It will be pretty easy to do. The other improvement you can make is, the problem here is if you have several toast messages coming up, it will show you only the last one, because there is only one place right now to show this and to display this. I'm just making another toast, and as you can see, it just displays the last one. So just to go over this, at any point in your application, you can inject the toast service. You can call initiate and display any message you want. And I think this will be it. If you have any questions, ask in the comments down below. Goodbye.